Rasta Pasta. This is a relatively new Jamaican dish with a few different versions. This pasta dish has great flavors and textures, rich, creamy, spicy and very flavorful, thanks mostly to the jerk chicken. This is one of my biggest go-to dishes. Let's get into it. Let's start with some spicy flavorful jerk chicken. Leftover jerk chicken is great in Rasta Pasta. I have an awesome oven jerk chicken recipe that you can check out. Leftover chicken means that this dish will take 20 minutes tops. Simply remove the meat from the bones and use that pulled jerk chicken in your Rasta Pasta. Maybe even with a little bit of jerk sauce. The thing about that jerk chicken recipe is if you make it, it's so good there won't be any leftovers. That's why I'm going to show you how to make this with chicken breasts. Personally, I prefer dark meat because it's harder to overcook. I like the texture more and it's more delicious. But I'm going to show you how I handle chicken breast so I still get all those things. I'm simply going to cut these into strips. It's a good shape because it's consistent with the pasta shape I'm using and it cooks quickly. You could sub in shrimp for chicken and make Rasta Pasta with jerk shrimp, or just shrimp, doesn't have to be jerk. My favorite version of Rasta Pasta is made with coconut milk instead of a cream sauce and ackee. That's more of a Rasta Pasta to me though because it's vegan and Rasta is typically vegan. Next I'm going to season this a bit of salt and pepper. There are many good jerk marinades out there that you can use. Some of them are powdered, but I make most of the seasons I use from scratch and this is some homemade deliciousness. Jerk marinade is very versatile and it's worth having a bit in the fridge or the freezer. To make it I need pimento, about 3 tablespoons, 1 medium onion, 2 heads of garlic, 2 to 3 inches of ginger, 2 very necessary scotch bonnet pepper. Habaneros can be used as an inferior substitute. I know a lot of you guys have problems getting scotchy. I also need a generous amount of fresh thyme, only fresh thyme though because dry thyme is a scam. 3 to 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons grated nutmeg, 1 tablespoon of salt, probably optional but a tablespoon of black pepper, half cup soya sauce. This adds color, flavor and salt to the marinade. Red stripe beer is preferable but any lager will work, about half a cup is good. I need a bit of orange juice so I'm getting it from half of an orange. Other citrus are good too, like lemon or lime, even grapefruit. It adds a nice citrus flavor and also helps to tenderize whatever meat you marinate. I like to add a bit of oil as well. This is vegetable oil but olive oil adds some big flavors. Next I'm going to blend this. I usually put everything in the blender but that bowl offers better visibility. Otherwise I wouldn't use it. One less thing to wash up. This smells really good. The spices are spicing, but this looks a lot like dookie. It's a bit on the lighter side. Here's another marinade I made the other day. I like the color of this, but these are pretty much the same. One just has a little bit more soya sauce and is not blended as smooth. Ah yes, that smells really good. Nothing you buy will hit as hard as homemade jerk season. Fridge for a couple days or freezer for a few weeks. Back to the chicken. I just need enough marinade to coat each piece, rub that in and cover it. Around half an hour in the fridge should do. Thin strips marinate easily. In that time I can cook the pasta. There's a bit of water already boiling which I'm going to add a generous amount of salt to. This is dried penny, just eyeballing the amount but this is probably 3 portions. I like to add a bit of oil to the water so these don't stick together when they are done. Let that boil and check them every 3 or so minutes. I want cooked but very firm pasta. Rasta Pasta was created in Negril in 1985 at a local restaurant by Chef Lorraine Washington, who used fettuccine, tomato sauce and ackee, which is very different from what we are making. She served it to construction workers who saw the evident Rasta colors and called it Rasta Pasta because of that. This is perfect. Overcooked pasta can really mess up your dishes. I don't usually cool down pasta with water, especially if I'm doing smaller portions. The flavor is so much better and that little bit of oil earlier stops them from sticking together. Yup, those are nice and firm. I'm just going to set them aside to cool for now. Alright, jerk chicken time. Use a heavy bottom pan. This cast iron pan is perfect. Heat that with a bit of oil. A heavy pan will give me a nicer sear on the chicken. Just let that get really hot. Grab the marinated chicken breasts. And this is how I like to handle chicken breasts. Evenly place them in the pan and just leave them to brown on one side. This way I get a bit of color without overcooking the meat. These don't have as much color as I wanted, but let's run with it. The flavor should be really good and I prefer not to overcook the chicken. Before these are completely cooked, I'm going to add 1 sliced onion and a bit of sliced sweet pepper. Rasta Pasta gets its name from the Rastafarian colors in the dish. Red, green and gold or yellow, and those typically come from adding different color sweet peppers. Technically this isn't Rasta Pasta because I only have red and green, so this is kinda clickbait. Just let that saute with the chicken. At this point it's better to undercook everything. Next I'm going to remove all of that from the pan. Smells really good by the way. And I'm just going to set that aside for now. The pan goes back on the fire. I want medium-low flames for this. Add 2 tablespoons butter and let that melt. Next, add 2 tablespoons of flour and cook that off for a few minutes. This is a roux which is just equal parts fat to flour and it's used to thicken the sauce. For that extra jerk flavor, I'm adding a tablespoon of the jerk marinade. Cook that off a bit. Next, I'm going to add 1 cup of milk, but only a little at a time while mixing. A little drizzle at a time, make sure I don't end up with lumps. Slow and steady. To up the richness of this, I'm adding 1/4 cup heavy cream. Mix that in. And so we just made a bechamel. Well, this is a jerk bechamel and it's a rich creamy component of the Rasta Pasta. Not all Rasta Pasta require this though, you could make a non-creamy version. We can now add back our jerk chicken from earlier. Undercooking it was okay because this step will cook it a bit more. I want tender juicy chicken and the veggies should still have a little bit of crunch. It's the small details like this that come together to make a great finished dish. We can now add the cooked pasta and mix that in. Penny is perfect for holding on to that creamy sauce. That hold on those riches help a lot. I have a little bit of chopped parsley. It adds some fresh green notes to the overall taste, which is nice, but I'm mainly adding it because it enhances the presentation. And that's our very delicious creamy Rasta Pasta. Or is it? We have to give it a taste to find out for real. I'm going to hit that with a bit more chopped parsley. Some shaved Parmesan cheese works really well too. Really takes this dish to the next level. That is it. Rich, creamy, very flavorful with a nice spicy kick and extremely satisfying. Making the jerk marinade is probably the most time consuming part of this recipe, but you could always purchase a jar from a good quality brand. You will get results pretty close to this. The original Rasta Pasta is very different from this because it has changed so much and there are so many different versions now that Rasta Pasta is kind of a loose term. Just have the colors and you're good. This was great, but before you leave, watch this next delicious video. Catch you in the next one.